Hey, love, welcome back to another episode of Lessons from Behind My Chair. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller, master hairstylist turned certified life coach. Today, we have an incredible topic lined up for you. Today, I get to talk about my 1 year anniversary and everything that I experienced during this 1 year of growing my podcast, of putting out into the world what I set out to do. And that is to use my voice, through my stories, through my experience, through my trials, my tribulations, my wins, through sharing it with my people so that I could help change individuals who are seeking change. And to be honest with you, who are seeking change from me, because I believe each of us are assigned people. We are assigned to people, and those individuals will recognize us by our voice. So let's dive in. But before, of course, there's a pop question. Before I dive in, I do have a pop question for you. And every time I ask a pop question, it does relate to the episode that I have, that I want to share. So my pop question is, what feelings stir up inside of you, inside of your belly, when you see a glimpse of your future self? Did you hear me? I said, what feelings stir up inside of you when you see a glimpse of your future self? When I started my podcast, I think I did my first trailer. I did my trailer back in May 15th of 2022. And my first episode, my first lesson number 1, I recorded on May 22nd, 2022. When I tell you I have come a long way, believe me, I've come a long way. So when I first started my podcast, my biggest struggle was allowing myself to find my groove. And what I mean by that, a groove that should not have been so hard to do. I struggled with coming to you all, bringing you all my message, being my authentic self. I had so much resistance when it came to that. My daughter, who has been tremendous in helping me bring this podcast to life, she would say, "Mommy, you need to start showing all of you. You need to let people see who you really are. Don't try and present in such a way that you are presenting. Show yourself, speak yourself in all of your idiosyncrasies, all of your expressions, all of your foolishness, all of your love, all of your glory. Just be okay and showing it." And let me tell you, I struggled with that because there was a part of me that was concerned about how I came across, about how people would view me. I wanted so much to be accepted through this medium because it was so new to me. I tried to present in a way that was safe. And about halfway through my podcast, a fire was lit in me. And I'm going to tell you, that fire came from investing in myself. That fire came from being committed to why I was doing this podcast. That fire came from understanding that this came from God. This calling was not necessarily my calling. You know, my calling for 30 years has been a hairstylist and healing women on the outside, okay? But along that journey, those 30 years, I was also helping women to feel good from the inside because they had my ear. I would listen to them. I would offer advice. I would encourage them. My job was not just to do their hair, cut their hair, style their hair, but I felt a compelling desire to help them enjoy their day, so that when they left my salon, when they left my styling chair, they left better than what they came in. Not just looking better than how they came in, but feeling better than the way they felt when they came in. And so it was dropped in my spirit through prayer, through meditation, through just talking with God. What is my purpose? Why did you allow me to come here? And I came to fully realize and accept that my purpose was to inspire other women, to hold space for them, to hold space for the women who didn't believe in themselves, who wanted more, who knew that they had more, but they struggled from past trauma. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. Part of how I help women, and I have helped women over the past 30 years, has been through my own experience and my ability to hold space for them when they open up to me. And so initially I said, I want a podcast where I do some solo episodes, but I also do some, have female guests on to hear their stories. But partway through my podcast, I realized I'm not striving to bring women on this podcast. And so I had to go deep and ask myself, girl, what are you doing? You have a story. Yes, this is true, but there's so many other stories that women have that your listeners can benefit from. And then I realized that part of the reason I hesitated to have female guests on is because I was afraid that I would be rejected. I was afraid that my asking them to come on to be a guest on my podcast would not be received. And part of the reason why is because this was all new to me, and I also lacked the confidence and the courage to ask. Now, in my very familiar setting in the salon, it's a whole different story. I command the space. I set the mood. I open up the space to allow women to be their authentic self. I open up the space to invite them to let their guards down. I give of myself in a way that they receive me in a positive light. And so they allow me to come into their light. And it's a beautiful thing. But this podcast thing was so new to me that I felt like I was held captive by my own insecurities. And so I started to dig in deeper as to why that was my issue. And a lot of it had to do with playing it safe. You know, when we know a thing like we know the back of our hands, it helps us to operate in our highest level of performance. But when we take on a new task, even though we know we're in the right place, we're headed in the right direction, we still allow past trauma to keep us from moving forward in it. It keeps us from past trauma, keeps us from fully embracing an area that we can be outstanding in. Past trauma will keep us from serving on a higher level, from giving of ourselves on a higher level. And so I had to pray for confidence. I had to pray for clarity. I had to pray for courage. And I had to ask God for direction on what is it you want me to do. And so when I partnered with God, a whole new world, a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of being opened up to me. The directions, the pointing me in this direction, that direction, this book came available, this webinar came available, this podcast I was directed to listen to, this individual I was directed to talk to, and everything started to make sense. And so now, 1 year later, I am all in, because I now fully know that I have to speak to those who are attuned to my voice. I have to serve those who I have been assigned to. And in order to do that, I can't worry about what I'm feeling. You know, so many times we can mess up because we try to make it all about us, all about our feelings. Okay, yeah, we do have feelings, we do have doubts, we do have fears, but work on them. Work on your own stuff so that you can move forward to the bigger work. Because once you begin to put your mission, your purpose in front of you, you'd be surprised how your fears, your insecurities are diminished. And so that's what I had to do. So I am freer now because I have been freed from focusing on me. And how I did that, like I said, is I started to invest in me so that I could serve on a higher level. I started putting my money where my mouth was. I started spending money. Ooh, that made me nervous. And then I had to tell myself, sis, you have to understand that you operate in abundance and that abundance is everywhere. And it is mine for the asking. I had to realize that a table has been prepared for me, and it's up to me to go to that table and choose what I want. And understand that there's no limit to what is available to us when we tap into our source, our God. And so I am conquering all of those fears. I am conquering the fear of not picking what is already mine. Can you believe that? Can you imagine going into your house and going into your own closet and being afraid to pick what is already yours? That's your dress. That's your pants. That's your pair of shoes. That's your jewelry. That's your food. You know? And so it is with the table that has been prepared for us, that has been prepared for us. We can just go to that table and choose. We get to choose clarity. We get to choose courage. We get to choose confidence. We get to choose joy. We get to choose bliss. We get to choose service. It is ours for the asking. It is already yours. So I want to encourage you to partake in what's already yours. And I personally, I am no longer co-signing scarcity because it does not exist. I'm operating in the now as my highest level because I realize that my now is what create my future. And I don't have to deal with the past because that is something that's already happened. I can't change that. I don't have to spend my waking nights towards the future because now I realize I can create my future when I check in with God and I partner with Him and I ask Him, what is it you have prepared for me? What is it? What is my assignment? And when I pair my desire with God's assignment for my life, with God's calling on my life, I can then live in the now. And that's how I get to create my future. My future, based upon my living in the now, operating in the now, my future is full of sunshine. My future is full of joy. My future is full of hope. My future is full of success. My future is full of serving on a very high level. And of course, my future has rain in it. My future has snow in it. My future has adversity in it. My future has struggle in it, but my future also has triumph in it. Because when I'm operating in a way that just doesn't serve myself, but it serves my calling, it serves what I have been assigned to. And the same stands true for you. When you're operating in your purpose, when you accept your calling, you know that the end, you've already won, that it's already beautiful. All you have to do, instead of living in the past or living in the future, all you have to do is live in the now. And then your past begins not even to matter, and your future is already prepared because of the actions that you are taking now. And so let's understand that our future is filled with all of the elements. And it is those elements, it is the multitude of those elements that keeps life interesting, that keeps all of us interesting, that keep giving us a reason to get up early in the morning and be excited about what we can accomplish in our day. And so my takeaways from this incredible year of podcasting, of growing, of becoming, of developing courage, of developing character, of desiring to serve on a higher level is this. I see podcasting as a perfect medium for me to show up on purpose and for me to use my voice to fulfill God's purpose for my life. Because I know that there are women waiting to hear my voice, and we will find each other. So here's a few takeaways from this episode. Don't fight what is calling you. Become partners with it. Collaborate with it. Listen to it. Follow the directions. Don't fight it, because that is a losing battle. Because what will be, will be. And don't run from collaboration. No one can take your gift. No one could take your calling. Don't run from collaboration. That is the very thing that we need to make our mission bigger and more impactful. We all have gifts, we all have suggestions, we all have ideas. And the thing is, we have to learn to bring our gifts, our suggestions, our ideas together and bring them together at the table to make a magnificent spread, to spread a spread that empowers us to have more impact. And that impact is to change the world for the better. And another takeaway is I want you to learn how to live in the now, because that is how your future is created. Your future self is calling you, and it's rooting for you. I want to encourage you to run to her. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.